Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being here today. And those of you who are live streaming, we appreciate your participation. This is going to be great. We have some of the brightest minds in our country. As a matter of fact, some of the brightest minds on the face of the earth here today. For those of you who don't have a program and are listening in through live stream, goodness, we've got NCTA, we've got Verizon, we've got AT&T Mississippi, C Spire, Samsung, Facebook, Google Wireless, LinkedIn, and on and on. We have the head of the NBC here. We have Ajit Pai, the head of the FCC, and we are already learning things. Yeah, last night in receptions, I learned a lot, and this morning already, it's been great. And this is an opportunity for us to see where we're headed in science and technology. Everywhere we look, connectivity and technology are shaping the future of our nation and planet. We observed two important anniversaries just a few weeks ago. One, of course, the moon landing. The Washington Monument was lit up with projected images of the Saturn V rocket showcasing the full flight of Apollo 11 for 7 breathtaking minutes. People all over the world, from Cape Town to Sydney to the Champs-Élysées to the Met in New York, celebrated this great anniversary, 50th anniversary of the moonshot, and appropriately so. This was a tribute to what America and Mississippi had achieved, and I'll get back to that later. Now, the other anniversary was less celebrated, and that was the opening of the Twin Towers dormitory here on the Ole Miss campus. Some of you are old enough to remember that. It was certainly important to me. I was a freshman, newly minted from Pontotoc High School, and while Neil Armstrong was the first human to set foot on the moon, I was among the very first set of human students to step foot in the hallowed halls of East Tower, which years later would be named after Oxford resident John D. Martin. Now, what did John D. Martin do? In 1841, he conveyed 320 acres of land to the University of Mississippi. He didn't give it away. He sold it to us for the price of $10. Now, 50 years ago, I was on the 5th floor of that starkly designed cube on the very night when Neil Armstrong took his one small step for man. If Neil Armstrong had graduated from Ole Miss instead of Purdue, he would have known to say one small step for a man, but he went to Purdue instead. Today, Martin Hall's Soviet-style looks have been softened a bit. It's now a dorm exclusively for freshman women, and it houses students fully engaged in the latest and greatest versions of technology and connectivity, which is what we're all about here. When I was a student, I was supposed to go to the library a lot. I certainly didn't have the connectivity that they have now. In 1969, those who watched the moon landing from their TVs at East Tower did so with the help of rabbit ears. But today, students in Martin and Stockard, the boys in Stockard across the way, can ask Siri any question they want to and have an answer within seconds. Now, for those students who are listening, a word to the wise. Siri is mighty handy, but I've learned she's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So it's better to dig a little deeper than Siri. But I dare say students today were as unaware as I was in the summer of 1969 of the pivotal, even essential role scientists and engineers in our state of Mississippi played in the first moon landing, and the role they continue to play today. For it was our own Stennis Space Center that tested the Saturn V rocket and deemed it ready and worthy of that history-making launch and landing some 50 years ago. No one has set foot on the moon since 1972, but there is renewed attention to NASA today. The future path back to the moon in 2024 and to Mars in 2029 will run straight through Mississippi, Hancock County's Stennis Space Center, just as it did in 1969. The Senate Commerce Committee, which I chair, wants to help put the first woman on the moon in 2024 and follow up with humans on Mars 5 years later. This is an ambitious goal, but NASA's Artemis program has shown the way forward and can be delivered in ways and with technology that Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins could only have imagined. We have better technology than in 1969. We have the experience of 50 years of work, and we have a growing commercial space sector breaking ground every day. The journey to the moon is just one example of Mississippi's part in the latest technological advancements. It shows us why summits like this one are so important. The students in Martin Hall and across the campus today will need to be scientific pioneers, just as my generation and my parents' generations needed those scientific pioneers. I hope a lot of them are listening today. The students who gather in dorms to watch the next moon landing in 2024 will do so with a digital technology more advanced than Neil Armstrong could have imagined. And we need to do everything we can to make sure that every Mississippian at every corner of our state and at every location in the forks of the creeks of our state are just as connected as those people at our great universities. I'm glad Chairman Ajit Pai of the FCC is here today because he shares that commitment to closing the digital divide by growing rural broadband access. This will cost money, and we need to spend it in the right places. It will require an understanding of where the internet is available in this country and where it is not. The FCC needs better data and better broadband maps. Without that, there will be overbuilding of networks in some areas and no building at all in others. Chairman Pai understands this. Other commissioners at the FCC understand this and have made great strides in this regard. I commend them for their work, and we will want to show our appreciation to Chairman Pai when he takes his part on the program. The Commerce Committee will continue to oversee and bolster the FCC's efforts, including working for the passage of the Broadband Deployment, Accuracy, and Technological Availability Act, or DATA Act. As we work to ensure that every American can benefit from the digital economy, the Commerce Committee and Chairman Pai are dedicated to winning the race to 5G. 5G, the fifth generation of wireless communications, is one of the most important developments facing the United States in the 21st century. At the most basic level, our connections will be faster and carry more data. For example, 5G will connect one car to the other, improving safety and mobility on our roads. It will enable farmers to use more data and precision agriculture techniques, helping the environment. It will extend the capabilities of life-saving telemedicine and remote service to rural communities. And the United States of America has a lot of them, and a lot of them are here in Mississippi. It's important to know today all the capabilities. Oh, it's impossible to know all the capabilities, but it has the economic potential to create millions of new jobs and trillions with a T in economic growth. One area that we will see growth is in autonomous vehicles. Our goods and people will soon be moving without any drivers at all. This is good news. The advent of driverless cars is good news. Why? Because this country sees over 36,000 highway traffic fatalities every year, 90% of which are caused by human error. That happens especially in rural areas where roads are less safe and not as well maintained. So autonomous vehicles will be able to avoid a lot of crashes, a lot of these 90% of the crashes. They will not, the driverless cars or autonomous vehicles will not be as vulnerable to mistakes. Lives will be saved and the economy will grow to create jobs. We are working to facilitate autonomous vehicles in the United States Congress and in the Commerce Committee. Individuals with new ideas and different ways of solving problems have gotten us where we are today. Scientists on this campus are on the cutting edge of new research into new products, such as graphene. Graphene is 100 times stronger than steel, and yet is the thinnest material known to man. Thinnest material known to man, 100 times stronger than steel. It's going to be transformative. It will transform engineering and improve lives. Some of our graphene engineers are here at this tech summit. Some of them are in this room today. I salute those who are betting on the future and discovering new uses for this wonder material. I look forward to your progress as you are working to bring the graphene market for the benefit of the world, for the benefit of Mississippi and of this university. Mississippi has produced its fair share of brilliant minds in the past. A lot of them you're going to hear from today. I look forward to listening to the presentations and learning what we can about what could be our next moonshot. So thank you for being here. Thanks for participating. Let's have a great tech summit. Thank you.